了天安门广场，枪口对着了年轻的胸膛。为了实现理想，我们早已抛弃了一切的犹豫和彷徨。在绝世的日子里，我们曾立下誓言，我们坚决不后退，坚持到明天，迎着暴风雨前进，生命给我们力量，我们坚决不后退。
The tank man is the iconic image of the whole Tiananmen.
五大訴求，缺一不可。
国
尝尽了。
屌你老味唔好打！哇拖啊！仆你個街！哇！啲嘢踩落個頭度喎！
你叫咩名啊？我叫李俊軒，我唔會自殺，我人我。一個警員用警棍打呢個示威者。
褲都甩埋啊！黐線啊！
你哋冇褪後，影係點樣？邊個再講？得唔得？我哋嗰個被檢過，你阻差辦公啊，再係咁。冇人阻差辦公啊！影出嚟啫！哇，唔噴我！邊個叫我媽事？你冇反抗啊！喂，你冇必要噴我啊嘛！你見到反抗嘛？我警告咗好多次啊！
Good evening. Tanks and troops are patrolling the streets of central Peking after the bloody operation to crush student-led protests. Some reports say more than 2,000 civilians were killed in last night's army assault on Tiananmen Square.
The first move came. A lone armoured personnel carrier weaved its way around Tiananmen Square, establishing for the first time in 3 weeks an effective government claim to the place. But it was a near-run thing. The diehards among the students had chosen to take up their position around the monument in the middle of the square. All we could hear and see of their fate was the tracer bullets and the sound of heavy guns used against them. The army, ignoring the burning buses which served as barricades, was implacable. They moved in on the square from several directions, including the Forbidden City itself. Soon the soldiers had cleared the main east-west avenue that runs through Tiananmen Square, cleared it by the deliberate use of random firepower. The statue to democracy, erected in the last week of the students' occupation of the square as a symbol of their aspirations, has been entirely destroyed.
The bicycle rickshaws scooped up the injured. Others were shunted onto bikes and pedaled to hospital. Many were carried away by frantic local residents. Ambulances screamed up to the troop line and were turned away. They couldn't get to the square. 2 ambulance drivers were shot and injured. Early scene of near mayhem. Casualties were arriving every few seconds. On bikes, rickshaws, park benches, carried in. All with gunshot wounds. The operating theatre was overflowing, many of the staff in tears. In 20 minutes, 40 seriously injured were brought for emergency surgery. 2 were already dead.
The daylight hours have seen more violence, with young people still determined to show their defiance, facing the lines of troops and tanks. On the main road east of the square at 10:23 this morning, there was a sudden and deadly volley from the troops. The crowd ran, and bodies were left lying in the road. The lines of troops across the entrance to the square regrouped as the injured were raced away on any available transport. The burnt later, again with no reason or warning, the troops opened fire again. Between 30 and 40 people were killed by the 2 volleys. And all day, reports have come in that the main Peking University, Beida, on the city's outskirts, has had troops on the campus. They've been searching everywhere and beating and killing.
Okay, Chuck, you're on.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Chuck Kwan. On behalf of the 3 organizations, I'd like to welcome all of you to tonight's virtual memorial to commemorate the 31st anniversary of the Beijing Tiananmen Square massacre. This event is hosted by the Vancouver Society in Support of Democratic Movement, the Calgary Movement for Democracy in China, and the Toronto Association for Democracy in China. And we are live streaming this event around the world on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. 各位朋友你好，我謹代表主辦單位溫哥華支援民主運動聯合會、Calgary 中國民主促進會同埋多倫多支持中國民運會，歡迎大家參加今次嘅加拿大3大城市喺網路上做嘅6四31週年悼念活動。今晚嘅晚會咧，會喺臉書、YouTube 同埋 Twitter 連線直播。各位朋友你好，我謹代表主辦單位溫哥華支援民主運動聯合會。Calgary 中國民主促進會和多倫多支持中國民運會，歡迎大家參加今天晚上的在加拿大3大城市網絡上辦的6四31週年悼念晚會。今晚的節目會在臉書、YouTube 跟 Twitter 連線直播。To start with tonight's evening program, I'd like to ask each of the 3 organizers to say a few words. First off, from Vancouver.
My name is Mabel Tung. I'm representing Vancouver Society in Support of Democratic Movement. 30 years ago, in 1989, the people of China protested against corruption and price fixing of the Chinese Communist Party government officials. Their voices were silenced by stringent control of media. The protests were brutally crushed in a bloody massacre in Tiananmen Square on June 4. This system was established soon after the June 4 massacre. We have been holding commemorated ceremonies year after year to remember the pioneers in the fight for democracy in China. Our persistence comes from our undying wish that the people of China can one day enjoy the freedom and liberty that we have in Canada. We believe that only through democratic reform can China truly rise and prosper and improving the livelihood of its people. After the handover of Hong Kong to the Communist China in 1997, we are witnessing an increased encroachment of human rights and rule of law in Hong Kong. In a year-long anti-extradition protest, thousands were arrested, and an uncountable number of protesters went missing. Many were murdered by being dumped from tall buildings to their death or drowned in the sea harbor. This level of brutality and cruelty is unseen in the history of Hong Kong. It bears an ominous resemblance to the Tiananmen Square massacre 31 years ago. Tonight, we remember not only those slaughtered in Tiananmen Square in 1989, we also remember many young people murdered in the streets of Hong Kong since 2019. VSSDM will continue to stand in solidarity with the people of China and the people of Hong Kong. Our commitment is firm and unequivocal. Lastly, I would like to pay tribute to our past chairman, Henry Chiu, who passed away 3 years ago. Henry was the chairman of VSSDM for 25 years. Through him, the society matured and became a prominent voice in Canada, championing democracy for China and Hong Kong. We also thank our supporters for the past 31 years. Your support energizes us and gives us reason to continue our task. It is in the memory of Henry Chiu and in your unfaltering support that we persist. Thank you.
Thank you, Mabel. I would like now to call on Calgary.
各位海外嘅朋友，我係湯官躍，卡城民主促進會嘅會長。今年咧係北京64週年屠殺事件嘅後第31週年。我哋自從89年開始咧，每年我哋都喺呢個中共領事館門前舉行呢個紀念活動。呢個係除咗紀念64天安門死難者之外咧，更加希望藉着呢個機會提醒民眾唔好忘記共產黨所犯下嘅無窮嘅罪行。佢每年都有，每月都有，每日都有嘅，數之不盡。譬如咧，舊年共產黨意圖推行呢個送中嘅條例，同埋強力改變香港為一國共產制。喺本來係香港嘅民眾和平嘅抗爭遊行當中咧，港警用大陸嘅公安全部人馬嚟香港鎮壓呢個恐怖地鎮壓香港嘅群眾，除咗數以千計嘅群眾被捕之外咧，仲有上千嘅人無故失蹤、墮樓同埋溺斃。呢個好明顯係大陸盛行嘅一貫嘅暗殺行動。今年咧又要喺香港推行呢個國家安全法，方便佢以言入罪，控制香港人。我哋每年呢個64活動咧，就係要講俾大家聽，唔好忘記共產黨呢啲連串嘅罪行。同時，我哋希望由此杜絕呢個罪惡之源。我哋會繼續努力，一直至到主導呢啲暴行嘅集團湮滅為止。香港民主人心不變，人心不死。多謝各位朋友收睇。
Thank you, Memhet Tohti. I would like now to call on Liane Lee from Toronto.
各位你哋好，我係李蘭菊。大家好，我是李蘭菊，是多倫多支持中國民運會的副主席。首先，我要謝謝多倫多的支持者，我們的朋友，尤其是31年來與我們風雨同行的朋友。其實你們都是民運會，不單單是一個團體，而是一群持守真相、拒絕遺忘的世界公民，為被滅聲的人發聲，為被鎮壓的、被殺害的人討回公道，追討中國共產黨的罪責。我作為六四屠殺的幸存者，30年來一直參加民運會的工作。除了是無忘六四受害者的託付之外，其中最重要的動力 是一群锲而不舍、默默耕耘的战友。我知道你们都不认识这些幕后的义工，其实就是就是因为大家都不认识大家，那么我们就知道，我们大家其实都是许多无名的人，在不同的岗位上，31年来以良心的光明对抗黑暗。民运会每年的游行都会打出一面横幅，就是我们永不忘记。这也是我特别今天要提到民运会建立的3座永久的纪念碑的原因。多年来，在领事馆的打压和基金不足的情况之下，靠着大家的支持，我们在多伦多大学、约克大学还有渥太华国际特色的总部都建立了永久纪念碑。多伦多大学的纪念碑是一辆坦克载过一辆自行车，而约克大学的纪念碑就是在天安门被推倒的民主女神像。加拿大首都渥太华的纪念碑，这是刘晓波先生在奥斯陆接受诺贝尔和平奖的空椅子，而这一张空椅子就是代表刘晓波先生一生，也代表我们大家31年来从未缺席的抗争。在这里，我恳请大家，我们每一个人都要发挥这3座纪念碑的作用。我们要坚持真相，拒绝遗忘，与暴政抗争到底。谢谢大家。
Thank you, Liane. We'd now like to observe a 1-minute silence to remember those who have perished on June 4th, 1989.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. We have some very special guests with us tonight. They have given us great support over the past 31 years. I would like to ask each of them to say a few words, starting with Senator Condonino.
Hello there. Am I on? No, there we are. First of all, my thanks to the organizers for inviting me. It's a great honor. You may see behind me a picture of the tank man. That picture hung in my office in Ottawa, in my Senate office in Ottawa for the 20 years I was there. And it has been a great inspiration, one that has ensured that I would continue to support this program. To the people in Hong Kong, I want to send a message. I want to send a message. You are an inspiration. We are not going to forget you. You are not alone. We will be there for you as long as it takes to achieve peace in Hong Kong and indeed rights and freedoms in all of China. And lastly, I'm looking forward to listening to the guest speakers that you have put together for this evening. And once again, Chuck, Winnie, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Con. I would now like to ask Jan Wang. She was herself on the square that night. Jan?
Hi, my name is Jan Wang, and I'm a journalism professor and an author. And in 1989, I was an eyewitness at Tiananmen Square reporting for the Globe and Mail. We're forced tonight to meet virtually because of the pandemic. And we know that the pandemic was used as a pretext to ban the memorial in Hong Kong. As we all know, Chinese people came out to Tiananmen Square to fight for democracy and justice. And I think it's so telling that at this very moment, cities across Canada and in the US are having their own demonstrations fighting for social justice. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. Next, Diana Larry, another friend of ours from University of British Columbia.
Yes, first of all, again, thank you very much for inviting me to commemorate one of the most tragic days in Chinese history. I'm a retired professor of Chinese history at the University of British Columbia, and I remember always this terrible day and the terrible events that followed it. And I keep thinking, hoping that things will get better. Sorry? Did somebody I had somebody else speaking. But just let me finish by saying the great Chinese slogan at the time, and I think now too, is 忘记不了, we'll never forget. And I thank you again for having me.
Thank you, Diana. Also from the University of British Columbia, Josephine Chiu Duke. Josephine?
Thank you. It is great honor for me to join everyone here to commemorate the June 4th victims, especially if we consider the current situation in Hong Kong. Through this commemoration, I believe the June 4th victims and their pursuit of a democratic China will come alive again, and will also continue to give light to any struggle for liberty and justice throughout the world today. Thank you again for having me here.
Thank you, Josephine. And finally, a long-time friend of ours from the Institute.
Thank you very much for having me. You know, 31 years later are dark days for democracy in China, but I think we should take up hope that the promise of the Tiananmen martyrs will eventually be realized. You know, as they say in Chinese, 无极必反. And I would just say, 中国的民主和自由万岁. Long live democracy and freedom in China.
Thank you, Charles. Now we would like to get to a main speaker. Human rights in China has worsened every year since 1989, and we're happy to have eyewitnesses and activists from around the world joining us, starting with Senator Jim Munson. He was also on the square, I guess, with Jan Wang that night. Senator?
Ni hao, and good evening to all of you this evening. No matter how much time goes by, I can never erase the memory of Tiananmen Square in 1989. It's been 31 years, and I think of those innocent students who were killed by their own government. I think of their families who even today cannot grieve for the loss of their loved ones. These young people had so much hope. They had occupied the square for weeks. You could feel their energy. The residents of Beijing were supportive. At one point, it seemed Beijing was a liberated city with 1 million strong backing the students. In fact, during those hot and humid summer days of 1989, there were nurses and doctors in the square assisting the students who were sick from heat and dehydration. Tiananmen had become more than a student movement. It was a shared moment of freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of association. Never did they imagine that their voices would be crushed by tanks. As a reporter, I was a witness to what took place in Tiananmen. The memory of what happened in the square will haunt me forever. Not far from the square, and before the major killing happened, hundreds of people were on Shanghan Avenue, and they were chanting, "Long live democracy, long live democracy." Suddenly, and without warning, a small armored personnel carrier raced towards them. My camera crew jumped out of the way. The military vehicle jumped over the protesters. It was a bloody sight. It was the beginning of a deadly night. I remember vividly running towards the square, and I could hear in the shadows someone yelling and saying, "Please tell the world what is happening here." I know what happened in Tiananmen because I was there as bodies of students who were shot and piled up in a hospital morgue. I was there to see the tank man stand for freedom. The Chinese government effectively and ruthlessly crushed the pro-democracy movement, but what the Chinese government can't do is crush my memory of what took place on a June night in 1989. I owe it to the mothers and fathers and grandparents who lost their children to continue to tell the story to the rest of the world. Maybe one day the true story will be heard in China. But now, 31 years later, the rumblings of Tiananmen echo in what is supposed to be a territory of one country and two systems. China has broken the deal and is suffocating Hong Kong with a draconian law. Make no mistake, it's a crackdown on democracy, on civil liberties, on a way of life. Some fear history may repeat itself in Hong Kong. My fear is that step by step and with the might of the military and security police, Hong Kong will gradually cease to be the Hong Kong we know. The iron grip of the Communist Party will suffocate basic freedoms. But in closing, as a witness to Tiananmen, I have a moral obligation to speak out and to speak loudly in memory of those who were killed on a June night in 1989. I am one voice, only one voice, but I'll always keep speaking. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. And now I would like to ask Wang Dan, the student leader on Tiananmen Square. Wang Dan.
好，谢谢各位朋友来参加这样的会议。好，那么时间已经过了31年了，这么漫长的时间，我们还有这么多的朋友在这里表示悼念和纪念。我想证明极权主义者想要靠时间来抹杀人民的记忆和反抗的精神是根本做不到的。今天我们这样的会议就是一个证明。31年来，我常常在想一个问题那就是我们用什么样的方式能够更好的去纪念或者对得起那些死难的同胞们，那些兄弟姐妹们。我认为最好的一个纪念方式就是我们要肩负起他们的理想，把他们的愿望继承下来，让我们继续往前走。那么继续推动中国的民主化，继续抵抗中共的这种集权专制对中国和全世界的影响，这就是我们最好的纪念方式。那么到现在我们看到历史给了我们新的机遇。自2012年习近平上台以来那么一系列的倒行逆施以及他个人野心的膨胀，都使得全世界终于开始警醒到中国作为一个所谓强大的国家，其实本质上还是个专制的政权，它将威胁到全世界的民主和自由。那无论是在中国内部、内地，还是在香港，还是在台湾发生的事情，都让我们看到了中共现在无所不用其极，现在甚至把他们的攻势推向了全世界。因此，我认为我们现在要做的事，就是肩负30年前那些死难同学的理念，那么抵抗这种专制的扩张。所以我希望，不管是中国人，还是香港人，还是台湾人，现在我们已经到了要大家齐心协力，相互帮助。我们要知道，中共不倒，不管是台湾还是香港，都不会有好日子过这个道理。我们一定要先结束中共的一党专制，其他的地方的自由才能够得到一定的保障。那么接下来我要对在座的一些香港朋友，有些都是老朋友了，也许有些是新朋友，是讲几句话。我对香港是有非常深的感情的，我想像 Cheuk 像李兰菊都会知道那么我对香港今天的局势表示非常的担忧，坦率讲，我也觉得非常的悲观。我们知道，当一个政权感到自己快要灭亡的时候，它会变得更加的疯狂，它的疯狂非常不幸的可能会落到香港人民的头上。香港未来将进入到一个黑暗时期。可是即使如此，我还是要强调，我认为我们现在，尤其作为香港的朋友，如何抵抗中共将要降临香港的这种黑暗，唯一的方式就是我希望香港人千万不要绝望，不要因为黑暗将至而绝望而放弃。你要知道，如果你绝望和放弃了，你面临的黑暗将更深重。你以为你不发声和沉默 或者做个奴隶可以躲过这场劫难。其实，以我几十年对中共的了解，绝不会如此。香港人只有更坚决地站起来抵抗，只有坚持抵抗，才可能保住自己。那么，时间会帮我们解决掉一些事情。香港人保住自己，留待天亮，一定要不要绝望，不要放弃。就像30年来我们这些原来天安门的学生一样，我们的口号就是永不忘记，永不放弃。所以我也希望香港的朋友，不管多么黑暗，你们绝不是孤单的。那么当年你们支持了我们，今天我们也一定会坚决地跟你们站在一起，全世界都会跟香港站在一起。我们未来就会看到一个联合阵线的出现，共同抵抗中共的专制。大家一起加油！谢谢大家。
谢谢王丹。Tiananmen Mothers have sent us a video of greetings to our Canadian friends. I would now like to play the video for you.
亲爱的加拿大朋友们，今天是6四惨案31周年纪念日。作为天安门母亲群体的一名成员，我非常感动地看到这一天，你们和世界上很多国家及地区都在用不同方式举行纪念活动。和平时期，政府动用军队，惨无人道的屠杀惨案，让我们遇难者家庭从此生活在无边无际的痛苦中。31年过去了，每年的这一天，难属们的心在滴血，想起那些被无辜打死的学生和亲人，我们的心情依然很难过。1993年，天安门母亲群体发起人丁子霖女士第一个站出来，通过媒体向世界讲述她的小儿子蒋捷莲在木樨地被无辜打死的事实。当年她的孩子还只是一个17岁的高中生，在我们找到的遇难者中，最小的只有16岁，是一名中专学校的在校生。这些花季的孩子对生命的理解还处在懵懂之中，生命就这样陨落了。当年的大学生都是有理想、有热血的青年，他们热爱着生养他们的这片国土，他们希望所有的人都可以自由、平等、和平、有尊严地生活在这片土地上。然而6四惨案的一声枪声，让他们的理想破灭，年轻而鲜活的生命永远定格在1989年6月4日。1995年，27位难属联名向全国人民代表大会发表公开信，谴责政府的屠城暴行，要求依法解决6四惨案。1999年，我们向人民代表大会提出我们的诉求，要求公布6四惨案的真相，对遇难者家庭依法进行国家赔偿，追究屠城责任者的法律责任。同年，状告时任国务院总理李鹏，追究参与这场屠杀事件最高决策，对屠杀事件负有主要责任的法律责任。时至今日，我们已经找到202位遇难者，共有184名难属签名，这其中包括已经因病离世的60位难属。岁月荏苒，60位离世的难属，绝大多数都是失去孩子的父母亲。他们多么希望能在有生之年看到自己的孩子能够得到公道，让遇难者的亡灵可以得以安息，以此可以慰藉痛苦的心。遗憾的是，他们没有看到。寻求公平正义是我们的追求，只要6四惨案一天得不到公平正义，我们向政府讨回公道的决心不会停下来。
Following, I'd like to call on Memhet Tohti of the Uyghur Canadian Society. Memhet.
Thank you for organizers inviting me for this important event commemorating the 31st anniversary of Tiananmen massacre. It is an important day and a historic day. Especially it is important in recent Chinese history. Thousands of brave young men and women, most of them university students, have paid the ultimate price with their lives for just demanding freedom and democracy in a non-violent way. It is recorded as Tiananmen Massacre in history books, and it will be remembered forever as a crime against humanity committed by Chinese Communist Party. And another importance of June 4th student movement is that the freedom torch raised in Tiananmen Square during May and June 1989 has played a catalyst role, provoking civil movements in Iron Curtain countries known as Soviet blocs, and inspired them to move for democracy and freedom, dismantling authoritarianism and despotism. For that reason alone, the impact and influence of June 4th student movement in Tiananmen Square is bigger than the participants and much bigger than the tanks and the fully armed, conscious blind Chinese soldiers that crushed young bodies. But the spirit of June 4th continuing today in every corner of this universe, as it is represented a decent demand of citizens for their basic freedom through peaceful resistance. I was in Urumqi at that time. Just every day, we are waiting for 5 p.m. news broadcast because of the 2 hours difference. And the June 4th, it was a dark day. We didn't get any news update. Instead, we watched the TV and full of tanks and the soldiers on the Beijing streets. It didn't tell the severity of the crash, but at least that tanks and full of soldiers in the street told us the story. And we know what the CCP commanded tanks and the soldiers can do against the civilians. We know, as Uyghur man, I know it very well. Now we are witnessing the Chinese government's brutal campaign of mass internments, imprisonments, coerced labor that traumatized the Uyghur people. And we are also witnessing years of search for our friends and relatives, watching from afar dismantlement of our distinctive identity and learning about systematic torture and the deaths. Also, we are witnessing recent repression or ongoing repression in Hong Kong and elsewhere. Even Chancellor Salam, it is more pressing than ever to realize and acknowledge the importance of freedom and democracy in China, that June 4th movement is rightfully represented. And with this regard, I sent my heartfelt condolences for those freedom victims in Tiananmen who lost their lives 31 years ago, and also ask the world community to listen to this cry and listen to this voice, who want nothing more than freedom and a dignified life. Thank you for organizers.
Thank you, Memhet. I would like now to play a video by Martin Lee, commonly known as the father of Hong Kong democracy. Martin cannot be with us tonight, but he sent the video.
Hi everybody, I'm Martin Lee. I'm sorry I cannot join you physically because of this COVID-19. But I'd like to take up this opportunity to challenge you to do something for us in Hong Kong, which we may not be able to do soon because of the impending threatened legislation by Beijing for Hong Kong in passing this law, the Hong Kong National Security Law for us, without going through the Legislative Council. We are worried that when this law is passed, we would not be able to hold any memorial service to commemorate the 4th of June massacre in future. So far, Hong Kong is the place which can summon more people than anywhere else. Every 4th of June evening in Victoria Park, always at 8 p.m. I will give you the challenge of taking over from us. Use the internet, use your wisdom, extend this to include non-Chinese, get more and more non-Chinese, because this is a symbol of freedom. If possible, involve our friends in the USA, East Coast and West Coast, because I want you to carry the flame, carry the torch of freedom every year, the 4th of June. Thank you.
Call on Cheuk-Yan, the chair of the Hong Kong Alliance. Lee is joining us from Hong Kong. Cheuk-Yan.
Hello, dear friends. I'm thinking of what sort of language I should use, and I think I will use English because my Mandarin is not too good. My only training in Mandarin, apart from Chinese movie, is when I was interrogated by the public security back in 1989 for 3 days. So that's my only training on Mandarin. And therefore I will switch to English. And we just had the candlelight vigil banned by the police. And it's very touching that when we went into Victoria Park, and very soon, like the past, people filled into Victoria Park to commemorate June 4th. But I have another feeling that is very strong last night, is that the people of Hong Kong had a different feeling in this candlelight vigil, because they are not just thinking of what happened in '89. They are thinking of what happened now in Hong Kong, and over 1 year of protest movement and police brutality and sacrifices that people had undergo. And it made me feel that when we commemorate June 4th, back in '89, we are like the April 15 beginning of the '89 democracy movement, when everything is angry, but we still feel that we are hopeful in getting vindication of June 4th. But gradually, when the time go by, it seems that we are going to May, whereby it's more of sort of still manage lots of suppression, and in Hong Kong we fight on. But now I think the feeling for Hong Kong people is that the tank is in Wu Chi Di, and they are coming into Tiananmen Square. We are the Tiananmen Square in Hong Kong, and they are already very nearby. And National Security Act, imagine, it's only they will want to enact it or promulgate it at the end of June. But of course, they don't need consultation. Carrie Lam said that they will consult in Beijing and Shenzhen and not in Hong Kong. So this is a totally made in China national security law that we would not recognize. And last night, our candlelight vigil was banned, but still people go in, and there's lots of candlelight in all over Hong Kong. So it's sort of a practice for us to be prepared for next year, when definitely, or I have sadly, predict that under the national security law we will not be able to hold similar candlelight vigil. But we will still go in, and we will still insist on the right that we commemorate inside Victoria Park and everywhere in Hong Kong. But we do not know what will happen. This year, I have already been arrested for 3 charges, and I don't know whether what we have done last night, defying police ban on our rally, I will be arrested again. I don't know. But definitely, I think for us in Hong Kong, as Wang Dan said, we will not give up, because it would be even darker if we give up. And if everyone do not give up, then there is hope. So we really now, Hong Kong people, had to overcome the rule of fear. And we need the support of friends all over the world, international support, so that we can fight on, and that when we will suffer in the future, we will know that we have friends all over the world behind us. And thank you for the support over the years for Hong Kong. And now we are in a very critical moment, and we look forward to more unit solidarity from the international community. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee Cheuk-Yan. Speaking about solidarity, we have 3 people from Ottawa, Vancouver, and Toronto tonight with us, showing their solidarity with our movement. First of all, I'd like to introduce Alex Neve. Alex is the Secretary General of the English branch of the Amnesty International. He's actually with us tonight, but online. However, he has made a fantastic video that I would like all of you to pay attention to. And let's hear the video, and let's hear from Alex.
Around the world, as we pause and gather to remember and to pay tribute to the countless courageous individuals who lost their lives 31 years ago during that cruel night and day of violence and injustice in Tiananmen Square, June 4th, 1989. Friends, I'm Alex Neve, the Secretary General of Amnesty International Canada, and I'm joining you from unceded Algonquin Anishinaabe territory in Ottawa. I'm also joining you from the front lawn of Amnesty International Canada's national office, where we have the tremendous honor to host the Empty Chair Memorial to one of China's great, unwavering and determined human rights defenders, Liu Xiaobao. Relentlessly persecuted, arrested, imprisoned by Chinese authorities simply because of his efforts to strive for a China grounded in respect for rights and democracy. Awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2010, but his chair for that ceremony left glaringly empty as he was not allowed out of prison to claim his award. Died while still cruelly and callously imprisoned by Chinese authorities in 2017. Liu Xiaobao, of course, was one of the many courageous activists at the fore of the Tiananmen protests, and he was arrested and imprisoned for 2 years in the immediate aftermath. I can well imagine the strong message of solidarity, commitment, and struggle he would share with us from his chair today. And of course, his chair is not at all an empty chair, especially today. It is far from empty. Alongside Liu Xiaobao, alongside his wife, the magnificent poet and human rights defender Liu Jia, this chair overflows. For in this chair sits every student who poured into Tiananmen Square during those heady days of protest, hope, and possibility in 1989. In this chair sits every person, young and old, gunned down and killed by Chinese security forces 31 years ago. In this chair sits the family members of the victims of Tiananmen Square, who for more than 3 decades now have called for answers, truth, and accountability for the terrible crimes of June 4th, 1989, and who have so often been threatened, attacked, and imprisoned themselves. In this chair sit the Canadians and near Canadians who languish in Chinese prisons, some under sentence of death, flagrant abuses of human rights having been their reality, pawns in wider geopolitical games. So here too sit Wang Bingjiang, Hussein Chalil, Sun Qian, Fan Wei, Robert Schellenberg, Michael Kovrig, Michael Spavor, and others, and their families, loved ones, and friends. In this chair sit communities struggling against massive human rights violations and injustice throughout and across China. Here sit the many millions of Uyghurs and other Muslim minorities, Tibetans, Falun Gong practitioners, pro-democracy activists, and so many others who face unimaginable persecution just for asserting their rights. And this week in particular, in this chair sit the people of Hong Kong, who have faced an unrelenting and an intensifying erosion of their rights over the past year, and who have not given up in the face of all the power and might of Beijing. They have not been deterred by ominous new national security measures, and they have made it very clear they will not give up, ever, no matter what. They sit in this chair because they show us what is at stake is simply too precious and fundamental. And therefore, friends, today our commitment, promise, and pledge must be that we are all together in this chair. A chair that will never bow to China's defiant disregard for human rights, and will become only stronger as we join together in greater numbers and with greater determination. We remember Tiananmen Square 31 years later, but we do much more than remember. We join together in solidarity and in action for Hong Kong, for Uyghurs and Tibetans, for Falun Gong practitioners, for the 2 Michaels and other imprisoned Canadians. We join together in solidarity and to act for human rights.
Chiu, he's a Hong Konger who is currently the Member of Parliament from Vancouver. Kenny? Is Kenny here?
Kenny, we cannot hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's good.
Good.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Many would assume that 1989, the world was much different than it is today. In some respects, they are correct, but in others, we see the old saying, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Well, let's take a short trip on the memory lane. In 1989, the world was embroiled in global conflict between Western democracies and Eastern communist regimes. In China, the valiant pro-democracy protesters were massacred by soldiers who fired indiscriminately into the crowds. And across the Chinese nations and the world, disillusioned people were in disbelief of the atrocity that they witnessed. And afterwards, thousands more were arrested, many of them the souls and the conscience of China, resulting in ongoing persecution, jailing, and in extreme circumstances, execution. The savagery of Tiananmen Square massacre shocked the world, but solidified the Communist Party's grip over the Chinese people. Although in Berlin, those inspired by them saw to the fall of the Berlin Wall, which echoed throughout the Soviet bloc, bringing an end to communism. But what if, one wonders, what if the student protester won and the nation had ushered in democratic leadership? While working as an elected official in my adopted home here, I hold the governing party to account to demonstrate to fellow Canadians that my party, the Conservatives, have better ideas that when implemented would be better for our country. In other words, as opposition, I am working to undermine the ruling government. Our democracy is not perfect. In fact, one might argue that it is in distress right now. But at least I do not have to worry about being physically attacked, assaulted, and put in jail and being charged with subversion or treason. The problem we are facing in the world today is that there is a growing manipulation of the harmony provided through such open and democratic public discourse. This is why Russia was able to annex Crimea from the Ukraine in 2014. This is why China is able to perpetrate horrid human rights abuses on its citizens and hold hostage Canadians like Michael Korvik and Michael Spavor. Another saying is, we have all heard, absolute power corrupts absolutely. The CCP has grown to infect every facet of life for the Chinese people as well as internationally, through temptations for money and power, or when that doesn't work, threats and intimidation. This is their method of control. It is not balanced, it is not stable, it is not safe. It is a house of cards about to fall. I believe in democracy. I believe it works. I believe Tiananmen students knew it. Hong Kong people know it. And Chinese citizens want to see a free China built on a solid, open, and accountable foundation. They want the peace, prosperity, and stability democracy brings. But they are afraid of the ever-increasing CCP government's repercussions when they voice this opinion. This is why now, more than ever before, Canada must step up to condemn and take action against the human rights abuses, the interference, and the suppression of democratic movement. To quote Canada's former Prime Minister John Diefenbaker, I am a Canadian, free to speak without fear, free to worship in my own way, free to stand for what I think right, free to oppose what I believe wrong, and free to choose those who shall govern my country. This heritage of freedom I pledge to uphold for myself and all mankind. If the students had won, if democracy had taken root in China, I believe the people of Hong Kong and China would have enjoyed this heritage of freedom as well. This is why we shall not forget. 我們不會忘記，我哋不會忘記。
Thank you, Kenny. I'd like to call upon Bhutila Karpoche. She's a leader of the Student for Free Tibet, as well as a member of the provincial parliament from Toronto. Bhutila.
I want to begin by thanking the organizers for inviting me to this virtual remembrance of June 4th, 1989. Remembering the Tiananmen Square massacre is important to me in so many ways. As a Tibetan, growing up, learning about the history of my people, and also knowing what happened in Tiananmen Square helped me see that as Tibetans, we were not alone. The Chinese citizens were also demanding human rights and democracy. And it taught me solidarity, even at a young age. As somebody who became an activist through the student movement, it has always been close to my heart because it was students who were leading the demonstrations, who were on hunger strike, who stood up against authoritarianism, and it was students who got suppressed by force and ultimately lost their lives. I remember thinking, they were the same age as me, maybe younger. They were doing what I am doing now, just the way the students and young people are fighting for democracy as part of the umbrella movement and the more recent pro-democracy actions in Hong Kong. And now, as an elected representative, remembering the Tiananmen Square massacre is especially important because I have a platform on which I can amplify the calls for human rights and democracy for everyone. And it is also urgent given the recent developments in Hong Kong with the security law. For all of us, and especially those of us whose struggles are tightly linked, we must not forget Tiananmen Square. We must not forget the people that were there. They did it because they had hope in their hearts. They had the courage to demand change for a better future. And they put their beliefs and values into action. And we have to carry that forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhutila. Finally, we cannot take our eyes off Hong Kong, as everyone has said. This is Tiananmen version 2.0. What started as a people yearning for freedom and liberty has turned into an oppression by the Hong Kong government, with an impeding imposition by China of the national security law. There are 3 asylum speakers who will be speaking to us right now who had witnessed firsthand police brutality.
Today, there are more than 40 Hong Kong protesters seeking political asylum in Canada. They are all in their early 20s. 3 of them appear in this video. Andrew and Isaac were construction workers. After witnessing escalating police brutality, they stepped up to the front line to protect the younger high school student protesters. As a result, they also became victims of police violence. Andrew was at the Hong Kong Polytechnic University when it was under siege on November 18th, 2019.
凌晨5點防暴速龍，博物館衝出嚟，我身邊有個細路仔走唔切，俾速龍飛撲跌咗。個細路仔第一個反應已經係講對唔住，已經冇反抗，手指揞住個頭，但係速龍嘅做法 依然係一個人咁打佢嘅頭度。身後嘅速龍用胡椒球槍、橡膠彈，行形式3-4米距離，依然射我哋。第二個經歷係喺同一日嘅早上，我哋突圍出去，但已經被警察包圍咗。我哋冇人反抗，大家都依照警察嘅指示，但係佢哋依然用胡椒噴霧射我哋個頭。我右邊亦都有一位手足要求洗眼，警察話好啊，擘大眼啦，結果直接俾佢胡椒噴霧噴我隻眼度。之後後邊俾人圍毆緊嗰位手足，一路俾人打，一路嗌咗20零秒，嗌到佢冇氣，到佢講咗句嘢，阿 Sir， 我牙都甩埋，仲想點啊？但警察依然冇停止對佢施暴。
Andrew has been in Canada for over 6 months, but what he misses most are his comrades from the front line. Isaac is a newlywed and was often on the front line to help out. The police arrested him at his home and brought him to the station in handcuffs and hood. They interrogated him using brute force against legal police procedure.
佢哋一路問我，照樣答咗啲佢唔啱聽嘅説話，佢哋就對我打我個頭，跟住踢我，跟住我瞓咗落地下，俾人踢到瞓咗落地下嘅時候，佢哋照樣踢我個頭。跟住嗰陣我覺得好唔舒服，我就同佢講話我想去醫院。佢就行埋嚟同我講：做咩去醫院啊？唔舒服啊你？有人打你咩？咁樣。佢又帶咗我去另外一間差館，佢帶我落羈留室嘅時候，我聽到好多人喊啊，好多人嗌。
Isaac knew he would face rioting charges. Not wanting to see him behind bars, his wife encouraged him to flee overseas. They didn't exchange a single word as he stepped out of his home for the final time. She closed the door in silence. Hazard has felt the erosion of Hong Kong culture and lifestyle ever since he was in grade 9. He participated in all the major social actions over the past 10 years. Hazard was injured for the first time on July 27th last year when he was at a subway station going home after a protest march.
突然之間就有人打我背脊啦，我就轉身望，原來就好多速龍就衝入車站入邊，對所有人作一個冇差別嘅攻擊。咁有好多唔同嘅小朋友、無關嘅人士喺入邊嘅。咁之後就衝到我面前就打到我瞓低。咁我當時只可以揞住自己個頭，就同佢哋講係對唔住，係咁講對唔住。
Hazard knew that injuries had been used as evidence against protesters. He did not go to the hospital. He knew the police would be waiting there. On another occasion, he was assisting a friend at a police questioning. His friend remained silent, but asked to speak to an attorney.
不過警察就覺得佢玩嘢，就打到佢內傷骨折，之後出返嚟之後連呼吸都有困難，而喺入邊嘅時候仲用唔知乜嘢工具夾佢手指，而依家佢隻手指都仲未係回復返正常嘅活動水平。
Hazard grew up in a single-parent family. His mother kicked him out of the flat because she didn't agree with him joining the protests. He was working part-time while attending college. This was supposed to be his graduation year. When asked if he missed his family in Hong Kong, he simply said, no. Now in Canada, these young people have kept up the fight to liberate Hong Kong. What motivates Andrew, Isaac, and Hazard to go on? Without commiserating, they all said, a love of Hong Kong and justice.
We have a special guest from Hong Kong tonight with us, Plato. He's going to give us a few words and to introduce a film that he has produced. Plato?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having me here. I personally visited Toronto and other North American cities back in March this year, trying to tell friends abroad what was happening in Hong Kong with my first-hand observations. Every time after I finished my speech, the question I got most often from them was, what can we do to help Hong Kong? And my answer to them is always the same: be our storyteller. Tell the world what is happening in Hong Kong. It is not just police brutality as you have seen through cameras. It is an attempt to eliminate the entire younger generation of Hong Kongers. If the term genocide refers to the deliberate destruction of a certain ethnic group, this is what is happening in Hong Kong right now. So tonight, I'm going to be a storyteller myself. One night in August last year, I was called to visit a church at 2 o'clock in the morning. It took me an hour to get there because of the non-stop heavy rainstorm that night. When I pushed open the door, I was stunned to see 30 young people packed on a dark staircase. All looked cold, pale, and panicking. All the lights in the church were turned off as they didn't want to attract any attention from outside. Despite the darkness, I could still see tremendous fears and hopelessness from their eyes. I was told that they wanted to go home safely after a long, exhausting, and obviously brutal day. Hong Kong used to be safe, even after midnight. But that was obviously not the case that night, and many other nights since last summer. I don't know how many of them could make it home safely eventually, but they were already the lucky ones. At least they had the chance if they could pass all the roadblocks along the way. There were many others who have been arrested, tortured, got missing, or even lost their life. That was not the only night I saw that happening. It happens every time, every night, when our young people gone out to fight for the basic freedoms they deserve. Now, people are talking about the second wave of pandemic later this year. I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the second wave is already happening in Hong Kong, but it is not caused by the Wuhan virus. It is a pandemic of mental illness caused by PTSD. The CCP and the Hong Kong governments are conducting a silent campaign of genocide in Hong Kong for unlawful arrests, inflicting fears and incurable physical injuries, and in some cases, even sexual abuses against our young people here. As a result, there are thousands, if not tens of thousands of young people and their family members suffering from various degrees of PTSD or depression. They are in urgent need of counseling or psychologist treatments. However, this problem has been overlooked so far. So this mental pandemic will spread and kill a lot of people here. So we want to call on the world that on one hand, our fight must and will go on till the end. On the other hand, this silence campaign of genocide must be stopped. Ladies and gentlemen, please continue to stand with us. Thank you.
Today, there are more than 40 Hong Kong protesters seeking political asylum in Canada. They are all in their early 20s. 3 of them appear in this video. Andrew and Isaac were construction workers. After witnessing escalating police brutality, they stepped up to the front line to protect the younger high school student protesters. As a result, they also became victims of police violence. Andrew was at the Hong Kong Polytechnic University when it was under siege on November 18th, 2019.
凌晨5點防暴速龍，博物館衝出嚟，我身邊有個細路仔走唔切，俾速龍飛撲。
In the year of 2020, the Wuhan coronavirus has swept the world, along with the hideous corruption and concealment of the tyranny. Amidst our battle against the pandemic, Hong Kongers' fights for freedom goes on. We're calling upon the world. Our battle against tyranny is not yet over, and our revolution for freedom should not be blanked out. This is our last chance to resist Chinese oppression. After the SARS outbreak, many have bowed to China to sustain their personal interest and livelihood at the expense of the autonomy that we were promised, leaving an irreparable damage to our younger generations. The life we used to know when young Hong Kongers should be spending their time playing or singing around is in the distant past. Even in midnight, public transportation had always been available. Hong Kong used to be safe. Many were disheartened after the Umbrella Revolution in 2014. Others are yet to be awakened. While some has abandoned their fight, others continue to sell off their souls to the tyranny. When you thought your apathy would bring life back to its normal path, authoritarianism, rascality, and dictatorship have always been present. In 2019, China stepped up its suppression of Hong Kong's autonomy and officially assimilated the city-state into the communist behemoth. At the same time, it is a wake-up call for most Hong Kongers to fight against all odds. Hong Kongers have unveiled ourselves to the world with the unwavering faith in dignity, liberty, and justice. Standing at the forefront in defiance of the biggest tyranny on the planet, Hong Kongers are reminding the free world. The wealth gained from serving an authoritarian regime comes at the expense of your integrity and the interest of our future generations. Hong Kongers have no way back. We pledge to stand at the leading edge, defending liberty and democracy of the free world, to fight against the tyranny until the end. Hong Kongers will remember our friends from Taiwan and the free world, who have always been steadfastly standing with us with unyielding support. Regardless of the ultimate consequence of Hong Kongers' quest for freedom, we want to tell our friends from the free world, please cherish the precious freedom and democracy that your ancestors have fought for. To our dearest Taiwanese friends, please do remember, one country, two system is a hoax, a guise of dictatorship. We're calling on the free world to remain standing with Hong Kong, to take care and accept our Hong Kong freedom fighters who are in exile overseas. Their significance in defending our universal values and contribution to freedom and democracy must not be forgotten. In the year of 2020, may glory be to Hong Kong, to Taiwan, and to everyone who embraces freedom, justice, and democracy across the globe. Project R is committed to the young Hong Kongers, our frontliners, and those who are arrested for striving for freedom. We're keen to provide them with employment and startup opportunities to tackle their life difficulties. Project R is dedicated to create a global community.
Go ahead, Liane.
大家以下咧，我哋要進入燃點燭光嘅呢個環節。喺點蠟燭之前咧，容許我提醒大家記低熒光幕前面兩個 hashtag 6431 Truth 同埋 June 4 Hong Kong， 將你哋嘅燭光係照片係要再上載係呢個網絡嘅平台，讓更加多嘅人係睇到，讓我哋嘅燭光係更光更亮。而家讓我哋攞出我哋自己預備好嘅蠟燭。阿Chuck，你係係啦。
Before I just want to remind everyone, we're going to be asking you to light a candle tonight in about 5 minutes. Please take note of the hashtags below. It's hashtag 6431truth and hashtag June4HK. We will be asking you to post this to the social media using these hashtags. 以下我们要进入燃点烛光的环节。要点蜡烛之前，容我提醒大家，记下荧光幕上两个 hashtag， 一个是6431 truth， 另外一个是 June4HK。 将你们的烛光照片上带到网络平台，让更多人看，让烛光更光更亮。现在我们就请大家把手拿住我们的蜡烛。
我哋攞起我哋嘅蠟燭，我哋要記住，人心不死，燭光不滅。12個小時之前，喺香港嘅維園，有過萬嘅市民無懼打壓，繼續燃點燭光，持守真相。喺香港其他嘅各個社區，數以十萬計嘅市民亦遍地開花，燃點燭光，拒絕遺忘。而家就讓我哋嚟到接力香港，讓呢點點嘅燭光傳遍加拿大，傳遍世界各地，以我哋良知嘅光明對抗黑暗，控訴暴政。
Our hearts will not die, our flames will not be extinguished. 12 hours ago, tens of thousands of Hong Kongers lit up their candles in Victoria Park, demanding truth and justice. Let's all take up the torch and lighten up the internet with pictures of our candles to tell the world that we will not forget, and that justice will prevail, and that brutal regimes will fall. 人心不死，烛光不灭。12个小时以前，在香港的维多利亚公园，过万市民不怕打压，继续燃点这个烛光。在香港其他各个社区，数以10万的市民也是遍地开花，燃点烛光，绝局已亡。现在让我们借力香港人，让这一点点的烛光偏不到加拿大去，偏不到全世界各地，以我们自己的良心对光明的对抗黑暗，控诉暴政。We're now going to light the candle.
網上面嘅集會就即將結束，大家記得上載你哋燭光嘅照片，讓燭光更亮更遠。
Our video is coming to a close. Please don't forget to post a picture to shine your light on the future. 我们今晚的烛光一位结束了，大家记得上传你们的照片，让烛光更亮更远。Thank you everyone for coming. It's the end of our virtual memorial, and thank you to all our friends around the world.